this happy place, welcome.
Hey guys, it's Tim, and welcome to episode 131 of the Dreaming of Disney podcast. And I'm with my beautiful wife, Audreyann.
Hello, Audreyann.
You have to excuse me. I was outside today.
Audreyann.
And I hate this time of year because I get really bad allergies.
I know.
And even when I take allergy medicine, it just takes the edge off, but I still get congested and gross.
I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
I'm sorry.
And we have these trees. The trees in our front yard are really pretty, but they have these huge blossoms and just leave all the pollen dust everywhere. And I hate the smell of it. I know some people like the smell. I hate the smell.
These ones don't smell great, but they are really pretty.
They smell like urine. Okay. That's what it smells like to me.
Okay.
So there you go.
A little too far. A
little TMI.
Little, we don't need to know that about you. Ew. Okay, real quick.
Yes.
Before we get into anything else, we are coming up. So we're episode 131. We are also coming up on our fourth anniversary of the podcast.
That's crazy. I can't believe it.
But do you know what the date was? Or would you have to look back at something?
What the date? I can look it up real quick.
I mean, if you can. Oh, man. Wait, where's my title gifter?
All right. Well, if for people who are listening on the podcast.
Sorry.
We are live on TikTok as well. So sometimes we respond to the people who are commenting live on TikTok. So you can follow us on TikTok and watch this live as we record it every Sunday night around 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. Welcome to join us.
Yeah.
On the TikTok.
It's a party. It's a party.
Oh, I don't even have podcast loaded on my iPad.
Oh, okay.
I'll have to find it later.
All right. It's fine. But yeah, we'll have to look and then, I wonder.
I believe it's
there's
March.
no way.
It's March.
No, it is March.
Yeah.
But I just don't know. Yeah, never mind. I was thinking we don't have time though. I was like, oh, that'd be cool if we got to 150, but it was in March, so we can't record 20 podcasts. Let's just do 19 or 18 2-minute podcast episodes where we just share a quick Disney thought, and then you get to 150 on the anniversary of our podcast. So would it just be on the app? Is that what you were going to look at?
Yeah, I was looking at the podcast app, and
then I'd have to scroll down
all the way down. And
oh man, okay. Well, why don't you can say what we're going to talk about, and I'll do that.
So the last couple of weeks we've been recapping our Disneyland trip that we did back in beginning of February. And so, it was 3 days, 4 days, 3 days? 3 days.
Nights in Disney Life already looked March 5th.
There you go.
March 5th, 2022.
That would be this coming week.
Yes.
I can't believe 2022 seems so long ago.
But also not we can't be 4 years from that. Because
we were still in the middle of the C word.
Get
the C word out of here.
Timothy Michaels.
It's Arrested Development. We're talking about a boat.
I know.
Talking about a boat.
Thank you. Oh, no way, Gina. So Sean O'Connor, welcome in. Big Juice, welcome in. When is that? Let's see what is that coming up?
I believe we started.
That's this Friday.
Mm-hmm.
That is this Friday. I don't have to scroll all the way back. Well, now I don't because you did. Thank you.
But anyways,
okay.
We had a 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 3.5 days. 3.5 days.
It was a good length. It was a good length.
On that Saturday, our first full day was February 7th. We had that day was the D23. I I keep hearing you go mouthing things.
That's right. You're very sensitive to that.
It's turning into an ASMR podcast. There was a D23 panel on the 25th anniversary of Disney's California Adventure, because unbeknownst to us, we didn't know that the 8th, which was the next day, was the 25th anniversary of California Adventure, because Disney didn't advertise.
Like
the week before, they're like, hey, it's the 25th anniversary. Here's what we're doing.
And then once I saw that, and I was like, oh, that's right. Like February 2001. Like I didn't know the exact date, but I was like, I remember it being, I just remember something.
What?
I have a shirt. Well, I don't anymore.
You
What
have a
happened to
shirt?
that shirt? I got a shirt from the Disney Magic music days that I went to in 2001 in high school.
Okay.
We got a shirt and it had something about California. I think it had the Grizzly Peak on it or something in the castle. It said 2001 Magic. What happened to that? What happened to that shirt? That'd be really cool to find. I mean, I'm not going to find it. That was a long time ago. But anyways.
So I went to the panel. We didn't take the whole family because I think the kids would find it extremely boring. And so, it was over 2 hours of former and current Imagineers talking about how California Adventure was created. And so I don't think the 4-year-old would appreciate that.
No, not at all.
So it was just me that went to that. And so I took notes and we're going to talk about it.
Yeah. Let us know. Let us know. What happened.
So within this panel, there were 2 panels. The first panel was the original Imagineers that, conceived and built California Adventure as it once was back in 2001. And then the second panel was the group of Imagineers that reimagined California Adventure in what year was that? Do you remember?
All I know is that when we went in 2013, they had redone it. So in between 2011 and 2013, it was in there somewhere.
It was like 2012.
That would be in the middle of 2011 and 2013.
But I mean, it was in phases though, because it was like they reimagined the entrance and then they eventually added Pixar Pier.
Because there was a period of time where we didn't go.
Yeah.
We didn't go for like a year and a half, 2 years. There was a little break there.
Yeah.
So it was within that time that they did that.
So the first panel consists of Barry Braverman, who is the executive who helped shape the original vision of Disney's California Adventure, and Tim Delaney, who is the designer behind DCA's original entrance.
Tim Delaney is an actor as well, isn't he? Tim Delaney?
I don't know.
He's an actor.
So he was the concept artist who came up with a lot of these ideas and concepts. Rick Rothschild, who was the Imagineer who brought Soarin' Over California to life. And then Greg Emmer, who was a show producer who helped build Grizzly Peak and the wilderness area. And then Kathy Magnum, who was the executive producer who led DCA's Made in California experiences, which did not last very long, unfortunately.
No.
So the what?
Aspen.
Oh. So how DCA came about?
Well, I'm talking about a little place called Aspen. What's that from?
Michael Eisner, who was the CEO of Disney at the time, he wanted to turn Disneyland into a full-on resort, much like Disney World.
That'd be nice. Let's do it.
Because Disneyland was just one park, and only one hotel at the time.
Oh, yeah. That's true. Yeah.
And And whereas Disney World was 4 parks, mini resorts, lots of things to do. Downtown Disney didn't exist at this time in Disneyland,
Right. It was
in California.
just Disneyland.
It was just Disneyland. That's all it was.
Yeah.
And so they wanted to come up with a idea to create a full-on resort type experience in California, much like Disney World in Orlando. So they went to a retreat in Aspen, Colorado, in the summer of 1995.
Someplace warm.
And so the goal of this trip was to come away with one idea to where they could then create another theme park. And so they came away with actually, what was that? 1, 2, 3, 4 ideas. They said 4 to 5 ideas, but they only mentioned 4. One idea was an aquatic theme park, which,
What, like SeaWorld?
they said like kind of like a beach type of resort. They mentioned kind of similar to like Long Beach type idea.
That would be hard to make a whole theme park off that, I feel like.
Yeah. Another idea was Route 66 to create a park around the idea of a lot of the stops along Route 66 in America.
Kind of hard to tie that into Disney, I feel.
Another one was a park that was based around the different seasons and holidays throughout the year. And then finally was one that was based on California. And so Eisner chose one about California because it had a lot of different elements. You had Hollywood. They could create a Hollywood type area, like on the smaller scale of Hollywood Studios, which was MGM Studios at the time, at Disney World. And it just had a lot of different things where you could celebrate the idea of the state of California.
Well, that's one thing about California is isn't it the only state that has all the different type of
Yes, the only place in the world that has all the different microclimates.
So, we have
mountains,
desert, beach,
valley.
Isn't the state is vast.
It's vast and diverse.
Very diverse. Yes. So you could do a lot with that.
So the idea was they could create a smaller Hollywood area. They could create a nostalgic beachfront amusement park, which became Paradise Pier. And then things made in California. So California history, agriculture, products, things like that.
Living with the land would go well in California.
It would have.
I feel like because we've got a lot of agriculture.
Missed opportunity.
A lot of agriculture here.
We do have a little bit of agriculture here.
A little bit?
80% of all foods in the United States are produced here in California, if you didn't know that.
There you go.
Now you know. A little bit of tidbit of
California information knowledge.
I was going to say history. It's not really history.
It's not really just
it's a
little California fact.
Tidbit there. So they had kind of a hard time trying to conceptualize how they were going to fit this park into the parking lot of Disneyland.
Right, because it used to be the parking lot.
It was a parking lot.
I remember getting out of my dad's car in the parking lot and walking to the gate.
Because if you go on Google Maps and you look at Disneyland, or you just look at a map of Disneyland, it's very thoughtfully laid out. You have the we're thumbings down on a comment here.
Jay just likes to come in and try to make me mad.
Okay, he's just trying to start drama here.
Yep, he's got a lot of hot takes.
So they had because if you look at Disneyland, it has like kind of the cogwheel type design. You have the hub in the middle.
Okay.
And then you have all the lands, sprawling out from the hub. And so it has a very logical, layout. And so when you look at the parking lot, it was a very kind of like convoluted, kind of weird shape.
Okay.
And so they had to figure out how are we going to, make this flow naturally in this weird shape that they have of this parking lot. And they had also a very strict budget. So Disneyland has a berm which is, a mound of dirt that goes around all the way around Disneyland that cuts out the outside world. So you can't see anything.
Let's cut out the outside world.
They couldn't do that for California Adventure. They didn't have the money to create this berm to, cut out the outside world. So they had to rely on buildings and other pieces of the park to kind of block different things. So they had to think about sightlines. And they also had to build it with the idea that they're going to expand it. Because they knew, just like Walt said about Disneyland, it'll never be finished as long as there's imagination in the world. So they had that same idea for California Adventure. They wanted to build it in a way to where they could expand. Looked like you were going to say something.
No, just they can't.
I know. That's another thing.
They don't. They are. I guess they're bringing Coco, which they're not taking anything away for that. They're just bringing it, and they are expanding a bit for Avatar. They are taking something away, but then I think expanding as well, seemingly.
They're taking away from backstage areas.
They don't have a lot of space. They don't have a lot to work with.
They have
there,
a city around them, unlike
there's
Disney
houses
World.
2 blocks down.
And they also, they couldn't build original rides. They had to, because of the cost restraint, the budget restraints they had to pick rides that were already built. So they couldn't invent new things. So they had to take original, off the shelf rides and place them in there.
Soarin'
was the only.
What was Soarin'?
It was the only original ride that they built. Everything else was based off of something else.
Okay, because I was like, what? I don't feel like there was ever a ride like Soarin'. I guess it was Cali River Rapids probably before.
I believe it was. Before
Grizzly River
Run. Which they had to, I can't remember if it was from this panel or if I saw it on Instagram. They had to figure out a way, how could they make Grizzly River Run different?
You talked about this. Oh, different? No, you talked about the water.
Yeah, that's something different. But they had to figure out a way to make Grizzly River Run different from Cali River Rapids. And what it was is the spinning. So, if you go on Grizzly River Run, you spin.
So fantastic.
Because of the way that when you do the drop.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
You start spinning, whereas that's something.
You don't spin in Cali River Rapids?
I guess not.
Do you spin in Cali River Rapids, friends, on the TikTok with the world friends, our world friends? Splash Mountain Makeover with Tiana's Bayou.
So the idea,
because if you don't, you need to go on Grizzly River Run because it's fantastic, and go on it at night. Oh, you do.
So the idea of California Adventure was based all around the California dream. So a lot of people from all over the world in the United States come to California to pursue their dreams. So whether it's, Hollywood or, Silicon Valley with technology, surfing. You just want to surf all day.
I do get asked that when people, when I'm in other states and people found out I'm from California. Do you surf?
I got that when I was a kid and we would move around and go to, we lived in California, my family, and then we moved to Texas for a couple of years, and that's all I got asked. It's do you go to the beach every day? Do you surf?
Yeah.
No, I lived 5 hours from the beach. I'm what? I thought all of California was on the beach. I was no.
Yeah. When I lived in New York, that's always the first thing I go, oh my gosh, you live by the ocean. Do you know how to surf? And I'd be like, I lived in the mountains.
Yeah. California's a very big state.
It is a very big state.
So that was kind of the idea behind California Adventure. So they came to how did they want you to experience the entrance of California Adventure? Because it had to be iconic, just like with Disneyland, it's iconic. You go through the tunnel and you now are part of, these stories being told. That's what Walt wanted. You're on a movie set, you're living these stories. And so you're part of these stories. So they wanted something iconic like that. So they try to come up with different ideas of what would be an iconic entrance into California Adventure. And so one of the ideas was a freeway entrance. Like you're walking into a freeway entrance because California has lots of freeways.
Lots of freeways,
especially
but
down south.
I don't think any of them are pretty.
Yeah.
Nothing is like, ooh.
They said that was quickly
entrance.
rejected.
Yeah.
Another idea that they really loved was a redwood forest. So walking into a redwood forest. So the redwood forest is pretty iconic in the Bay Area. If you ever seen Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, and the planet of Endor, that was filmed in the redwood forest in the Bay
beautiful.
Area.
I've been there. It's beautiful.
And so it's very iconic. So if you see that, they kind of had an idea. They couldn't do that because they just didn't have enough time. Because they had 4 years to build this. It opened in 1999.
It opened in 2001.
2001. Brain fart. So they had, what is that? 6 years. They had 6 years to open that. So what they ended on was what we know as the Golden Gate Bridge, and with the monorail, and then the California letters in front. So they thought of like, what would a postcard look like for the state of California? And so they designed this entrance to be like a 3-dimensional version of a postcard. So you have the California letters, you have the Golden Gate Bridge, you have a iconic tile mural that they built on the what's going on over there? Iconic tile mural that they built, and then they had the monorail which you would walk under. She's searching through her treasures, it looks like.
My treasure box.
Treasure box. And so, and then they had the iconic sun icon. So interesting about this mural that they had with do you remember this mural that was off to the side of the entrance? It was like a surfer. It was on a building.
Off to the side, but at the entrance?
At the entrance, yeah. So
like
that
once you're in the park or right before you're in the park?
At the entrance of the park. So like the turnstiles. So you would see like the Golden Gate Bridge, and then like you have this big mural on the side.
I can't say that I do.
We had the map out here. Do we have it still over here?
Yeah.
So if you look at it, it's a mountain. So this guy right here. This.
I don't remember that.
Okay. So this is what I'm talking about. So this mountain right there. So that was actually at the time the largest tile mural in the world.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
So that's a little fact. Also, the parking lot, or not the parking lot, the parking garage, which is now...
Look at that. First picture I grab. In the O.
In the O.
There you go. That would be in 2002.
So the Mickey and Friends parking structure that they built at the time, because it's before Toy Story, so it was just Mickey and Friends. That was the largest parking structure in the world, the Mickey and Friends parking lot, parking structure, which is crazy. The architect that they hired to build the parking structure, he had other projects that he was bidding on, but he chose, out of all the other projects, he wanted to build the parking structure at Disneyland.
He said, I want to be part of that.
Because he knew it was going to be such a challenge to build something that's nice looking. And so it's like, how do you make a parking structure look nice? So yeah. Let's see what else. So there was a lot of, so that mural, 17,000 pieces, tiles, hand built tiles. Let's see what else. So Soarin Over California. So they spent a lot of time on this, and they cut off the Imagineer who was talking about it. Was like, we're running out of time. Sorry.
Aww.
Like, I gotta take this. The Barry Braverman, who was the lead Imagineer, he kind of like interrupted the Imagineer talking about Soarin', which was Rick Rothschild. He cut him off. He's like, we have to keep going because we're running out of time. But everybody want to learn about Soarin because Soarin's awesome. When they're thinking about the California dream, one of those things is the idea of flight. A lot of things when it comes to flight happened here in California, except the first airplane by the Wright brothers was actually in North Carolina, but everything else was developed here. So the early ideas of Soarin was a hot air balloon. And so guests would go up off the ground. And so instead of it being a communal experience, like, a group of people in a hot air balloon, they shifted to a more individual, personal flight experience. So that's when it came into the idea of gliders. And so it took them about 6 months to kind of figure out, what does this look like? And so the idea of the ride mechanism actually came about from how would they stop the ride in an emergency? So if we've all been in a Soarin', so you start out, on the floor, and then you kind of, there's 3 layers. And so you kind of, you shoot up in kind of like in a half circle.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the way the track looks like. And so they had to figure out, okay, we have to come up with the idea if this ride had to stop in an emergency, how would we stop it? So they actually they use gravity. So the gravity would just kind of bring you back down. So they thought of this ride structure just by thinking it backwards. Like, how would we stop this if we needed to stop it in an emergency? Mm-hmm. So they showed they built a model, like a handmade model that's kind of the size of like your hands. And they showed a video of that, how the ride mechanism worked. This was the first ride that was built using computers.
Really?
It helped them to, it was not AI, but it was kind of like the first way to where they could conceptualize how a ride would work before actually having to build it. So they were able to build it in the computer and conceptualize it before actually having to build any type of models or actually having to build it full scale. So they were able to do it in the computer first, which was one of the first rides to ever do that.
48 FPS high speed.
So this was interesting. So when they came about, shooting the scenes for this, they shot it on IMAX cameras, which are very loud they're very big and very heavy. They use film. So they didn't shoot it digitally because they didn't have digital cameras at the time that had that, good of quality. And so they had to shoot it on IMAX film. Is that Pinocchio?
It's Pinocchio. Little creeper. hugging.
Yeah, you guys are hugging really close.
Hugging me a little too tight there, Pinocchio.
I don't think they do that anymore.
And both arms, man.
So they shot on IMAX cameras, and each camera holds about 5,000 feet of film. That may sound like a lot. So if you take the film and you stretch it out, it covers 5,000 feet. But shooting at 48 frames per second, that 5,000 feet would only last 24 and a half seconds.
Okay, wait. How many feet?
5,000.
5,000 feet of film.
Running at 48 frames per second. So each little square on a piece of film is a frame. And so each frame would go by 48 times in 1 second. So it would take 24 and a half seconds to go through that 50 or 5,000 feet of film. So each camera can run. You gonna show me something? Is that you with Mickey? It looks like our daughter. Little mini me.
It's Minnie Mouse.
Oh, okay.
It's Minnie Mouse.
So
I would have been like 90? No, probably like 89.
So they could only do two takes at a time. So each take would be only 24 and a half seconds long. And so they could only do two. They could only load the camera up with enough film for 2 takes. So that it's about 50 seconds. So they could, when they were filming it, they only had enough time to take 1 take. And so every time they had to reload the camera, it was 90 minutes to, gosh, I'm trying to remember all of this. It was very complicated to film this. So what I'm saying is that they only had two chances to get the take of each shot that they wanted. And
you think about the shots in Soarin' Over California, and you think like they're going like, you know, I'm thinking of because we just did Soarin' Over California when we were there. Like, and there's the part where they're, you know, on the canoes when you're going over the river and they're like canoeing. So if they only had 2 chances to get that shot, like, did they just have like a bunch of people canoeing down the river? And I don't know. I don't know where my mind's going with that one.
But anyways, so the helicopter, the helicopter that shot this, and it was filled up with fuel. The fuel would only last 90 minutes. And so by the time they got to their location, they had 60 minutes to shoot 2 scenes or 2 takes of 1 scene. And they were only able to get about 8 shots in 1 hour.
Okay. Wow.
So it was very complicated, a lot of logistics to get all this shot. And so the one shot in Soarin' Over California where the fighter jet flies at you.
Yes.
So
our boys love that.
The fighter pilot started 25 miles away from the helicopter. So they were on the radio and they would give the cue. He would actually be 25 miles away when he started his flight, and he hit his mark. They did that take 8 times.
Oh, wow.
7 times he hit the mark perfectly. He missed the 8th shot by a little over a second, and that was the one that they used. They said that was the best shot.
Huh. So the one where he was on the mark, no good.
So that was Soarin' Over California. So that as someone who shoots video and the logistics of all that, I found that really fascinating. All that stuff. So A Bug's Land. I didn't realize this. I don't know why, but A Bug's Land wasn't an original opening attraction for California Adventure.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either.
So what was there was a kind of like a you-pick farm. So you could go and experience agriculture in as it is in California. And that's where a Tough to Be a Bug was there. So A Tough to Be a Bug, the Bugs Land show, or A Bug's Life show, was an original opening attraction, but A Bug's Land wasn't.
Okay.
So,
we didn't do a Bug's Tough to Be a Bug until Disney World. I didn't know it was in Disneyland.
Yeah. So right after they opened, they heard from guests right away that there wasn't enough to do for kids.
Yeah.
And so
and they took it away.
Yeah. So during a pre-opening tour of California Adventure, John Lasseter was there, and they were touring the DCA, and they watched A Tough to Be a Bug, and so John Lasseter was like, wouldn't it be great if we were shrunk down into the size of a bug? And he started talking about the immersive idea of having a real life Bugs Land, and so they thought that's perfect. And so there wasn't multiple ideas. They're like, that's it. That's the one we're going to do it. And so they opened that in 2002. So 1 year after California Adventure opened, they opened A Bug's Land. Okay. So sorry, agriculture just wasn't fun enough for the kiddos.
Yeah, like they needed more to do for little kids.
And then we come to the Hyperion Theater, which is in Tomorrowland, Hollywoodland, in California Adventure. And so they really fought hard. They wanted a proper Broadway style there's sirens going on outside. They wanted a proper Broadway style theater, and so that they could do stage shows and be able to have that quality of entertainment at the parks, because they didn't have that before. And so they fought hard for that. And so Aladdin was the first show to be there. And so they really fought hard to have a theater like that. And unfortunately, it's empty.
Unfortunately, they don't use it.
So the Imagineers were hinting hard, tell executives not to get rid of it, because I think it's on the chopping block. The way that they made it sound.
We've been talking about this in our TikTok room.
Because the last show was Rogers the Musical.
Which was what, 2022, 23?
Amazing. It was
22 or 23? 23. I think it was summer of 23. No? Yes.
Yes.
I think it was summer of 23.
Yeah.
What was I saying? Okay. So we've been talking about this in our room a lot this week on our lives, that there's the Hyperion Theater.
Yep.
There's the places where they had, Captain EO and
Tomorrowland Theater.
Yes, that is
Honey, I Shrunk the Audience.
Honey, I Shrunk the Audience. There is nothing in there. There's also the place where they did the snow play area.
Which was late. The last it was an Avengers store.
That's right. Yeah. And they have all of these places and that they could put a show. Mm-hmm. Hyperion Theater is a big theater.
Yeah.
Why don't they do a show there? I don't understand. And
they've been cutting back on entertainment and performers.
No, Justin, I have the window open. So yeah, you're probably hearing crickets and stuff. But yeah. You might be going crazy. And I'm attached to the Hyperion Theater because three of my 4 years of high school, there was 1 year where we didn't go, but we had 1 year we did the music days in Disneyland. That was my freshman year. And then the other years, our actual choir festival was not at Disneyland. We went to a high school somewhere in Anaheim, but we had our awards ceremony in the Hyperion that night where we won. Oh, first place. And so I'm very attached to the Hyperion Theater. It was my senior year of high school. It was the end of this thing, an era, if you will. And so I'm attached to the Hyperion Theater because it was an awesome moment. And I'm sad. And I think that they could just do so much there. And then we don't have that many shows.
I know.
In Disneyland, at the Disneyland Resort. So it wasn't this trip. You guys, where are those pictures? These are different trips. These are different choir trips. I can't find my senior year pictures.
So that ended the first panel. And so they brought in the second panel that helped reimagine California Adventure as we know it today. So that included Kathy Magnum, who she was.
I love her.
I believe she was on the first panel. No, she wasn't.
I think you said that name before.
Yeah, no, she was. Kevin Rafferty, who is a creative director behind Cars Land,
well,
and Radio
he's a
Spring
genius.
Racers. Steve Davison, who is the entertainment visionary who created World of Color. and Jeanette Lomboy, the executive creative leader behind Pixar Pier, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Avengers Campus. Emo O'Brien, a show producer who helped shape Cars Land and contributed to the park's Pixar era evolution. And Kathy Rogers, a creative producer who helped translate Pixar storytelling into immersive physical environments inside the park. So they didn't go really too much into Buena Vista Street because the whole entrance of California Adventure was totally reimagined.
And I mean, it's like it's sad for what they created and like the California letters and all that. But I've said it a billion times and I'll say it a billion more because I repeat myself a lot. But I love California Adventure. And once they redid it, like before that, it was like a half day park. They had some fun things. I loved Soarin. I liked World of Color. Or I loved World of Color. But even California Screamin' got like old for me. Like I could take it or leave it towards the end of it. Like it was a great roller coaster, but it was just a roller coaster. But when they reimagined it and so they brought so much more Disney into it, I absolutely love it. I love, and Mickey and Minnie are like in their like 1920s, costumes, and they have like the jazz singers and they have like, it's just, I love it. I love it. I think
it still fits with the California Dream idea. It's just they're now,
it's Walt Disney's
dream.
It's Walt
Disney's dream. He had the dream of starting an animation studio with his brother. And so he came out to California to start that. And
okay, hang on. I have a question for Grim Grinning Dads here, who also has a podcast, you guys, Grim Grinning Dads. You say they're in the middle of an identity crisis. Would you say that Hollywood Studios is as well then? Because I kind of feel like Hollywood Studios is all over the place. There's Toy Story Land. There's Galaxy's Edge. I mean, you have Sunset Boulevard. Is that what it's called? That going down by Tower?
It's just Hollywood Studios in Orlando. It's based around storytelling and movies and things like that. So having these different things makes sense because you have the Toy Story Land, which goes into these movies, Star Wars, Toy Story. So then Tower of Terror.
So then to me, the only thing that wouldn't quite make sense is Pixar Pier. But even that makes sense to me because it's a pier like in California. They just bring it Disney. Yeah. Just like Hollywood, California, they make it Disney because it's when Walt Disney came. They make the San Francisco area
San
Francisco from Big Hero 6. It's still California because it's like
it's
San Francisco. But what Disney movie is kind of San Francisco?
DCA is kind of, once they started throwing Marvel into it,
Marvel
it kind of throws it off.
Marvel throws it off. I will say that.
Whereas Cars Land
Route 66 leads to California.
Yeah. Going out west and that whole idea. The Marvel kind of throws a wrench into the whole thing.
Yeah, I see that. I can see that.
So they went into Pixar Pier. So they took the existing bones of the pier, Paradise Pier, which was known at the time, and they gave it a stronger character-driven identity. So keeping the idea of the idea of the California, pier amusement park, because there was only like a handful in California at the time, but they were very nostalgic and
like the Santa
iconic
Cruz.
In the early 1900s era, and so they said let's throw a Disney spin on it. So they threw Pixar because it had so many good characters and identities along with that, and so they when it came to California Screamin', which is the iconic roller coaster that's on the pier, they didn't have an idea of what theme they wanted to give it. And so they were playing around with different music. They're like, well, music changes a lot when it comes to a ride. And so they call it using music as a thrill multiplier. And so they were thinking of like, hey, what Pixar movie has a great score? And they immediately thought of Michael Giacchino, who is the composer of The Incredibles. And so they took California Screamin', and what they did, they just put The Incredibles theme on the ride when they were testing it out. And they just like, let's just try writing it with the Incredibles score on it. And they're like, they knew it like, oh, this is perfect. This is it. This is what we're going to do. And so that's when they decided to retheme California Screamin' as the Incredicoaster, which is
so fantastic.
Amazing.
There have been times where I don't get to ride it for whatever reason, but it's one of my favorite rides. It went from being like, it's okay, to, it was a great roller coaster. It just was a roller coaster, to being one of my favorite rides. I just, I love it. I love it so much. I think the way the story they brought in with like the Incredibles and Jack escaping, so you're chasing Jack is just, it's so fun. I just love it.
Yeah, it's great. And so then we got to World of Color, which was pretty amazing, how this came about. So Steve Davison, who was the Imagineer who was in charge of World of Color, they knew they wanted something in the lagoon area of Paradise Pier or Pixar Pier. And they originally, when they first built California Adventure, the original Imagineers knew they wanted to do something there, some type of nighttime show, but they were limited by budget. They're like, we wanted to do something here. So that's when it came back to where they built the park with ideas of expanding it in the future. So they built this lagoon there, but they didn't have the budget to do anything. So when it came to reimagine California Adventure, they knew they wanted to do something there. So, so they had different ideas that came before World of Color. They had other entertainment, like they had the Eureka Parade. Do you remember the Eureka Parade? It was a California themed parade. I guess it didn't do very well. They had a Hyperion Theater, and then they had a holiday show that was fireworks over the pier. So that kind of led the way into doing something there. And so they kept pitching it, to their bosses and to the next level and to the next level until they eventually reached Bob Iger, who was the CEO at the time of Disney. And they were like confident, like this is going to be too expensive. There's no way that they're going to approve this because it's going to cost way too much money to develop all this technology for this fountain show that's never been done before.
Yeah.
And they said after the presentation, Bob Iger was just quiet and he looked at them and said, when can we do this? And so they admitted, like, we never thought about when we could do it. We never knew like how long it's going to take because we never thought it would get approved. And so, and they didn't know anything about fountains. So they conceptualized this idea of this fountain show when they didn't know how fountains worked or they could even do what they wanted to do. And so they had to go learn, invent, and build new technology to build this nighttime show. So they had to think of new lighting methods, new movement systems of moving water, moving light. They had to figure out how to move fire. And so one signature effect they have is this, you've probably seen it where the laser shoots out in front of the water and it creates like these sheets of lasers. There's like this sheet of laser light that goes above the water. And that was done by accident. They're like, oh, that's cool. Let's keep that. And so one of the hardest things they had to figure out of all the technology that they invented for World of Color, the most difficult thing they had to invent was just figuring out how to get the fountains to move up and down. So if you've been to California Adventure, during the day, all the fountains are below the water. You don't see them. It's not until the afternoon and evening where the fountains raise up out of the water. They had to invent that technology, and they said that was the most difficult thing.
Which is crazy. Like, what you just put it, like, you think it would just be like on a lift of some, like, it's like, why would that be complicated when you think about all the other things they create for rides and shows and
So that was pretty cool. Also, another little tidbit was that this kind of goes back to the first panel, but when they built Grizzly River Run, the rapids ride, when you have a water ride like that, you have to store the water somewhere. You can't, the water's just not like recycled in the ride. You have to have a large, bank of water to pull from. So that's one of the reasons why they also built the lagoon in Paradise Pier and Pixar Pier, was that is the holding tank of water for Grizzly River Run.
Now, is that the same? Is that the case also with like Splash Mountain, Tiana's?
I don't think so, because they don't need as much water. Because Grizzly River Run uses a whole lot more water.
A lot of water.
And so they have to, because when you think about when they refurbish Grizzly River Run, they have to put that water somewhere, because they empty out the ride and they have to put it somewhere.
Like right now it's empty.
Yeah. So that all that water, when it's refurbished and there's no water, it all goes to Paradise Pier or to the lagoon. So they said when Grizzly River Run is in refurbishment, the lagoon is in high tide. When the Grizzly River Run is running, the lagoon is in low tide. So I thought that was just interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Tiana's, you have the Rivers of America right there. So that's probably where they pulled from that water right there.
Oh, it is right there.
So then we got to Cars Land, which was really interesting. Just like all the parallels of this land and what it was originally going to be and how it shifted into what we know it to be now. So the Imagineer who was in charge, Kevin Rafferty. So he started out at Disneyland as a dishwasher when he was a teenager. So he's been working at Disneyland most of his life. And so him and his friends, after their shifts, they would go, back to their cars in the parking lot and just like sit in their cars and imagine, like, if you could build a ride, what would it be? And come, decades later, he's now an Imagineer and he's building rides in that parking lot where they would have they were first imagining, what they would build. So, where am I? So they started developing Cars Land before they even knew Cars as a movie was being developed by Pixar. So his boss came to him and said, I want you to think of a new ride at California Adventure that could possibly be an anchor for a new land. And so he was super excited about that. And so he started just coming up with ideas, and he landed on, what is something that is well known, or another, idea around California that's really popular. And he came up with car culture. So car culture is really popular in California, whether it's old cars, muscle cars, all those, race cars, all these different things. And so he wanted to be rooted in the 1955 to 1965 era of car culture. And he framed it, as a way as like, personal expression and freedom in that era. And
American graffiti.
Yeah. And so he envisioned it as a 1950s Main Street you would go down. And so he wanted to be in the same like time frame as Disneyland. So when Disneyland opened in 1955, Main Street was the turn of the century Main Street.
Right. Okay.
So
yeah.
when California Adventure opened in the early 2000s, the equivalent time frame would be the 1950s.
Would have been the 50s. That's cool.
So he wanted to have that same time jump. As similar to Disneyland. And so, building that Main Street from the 1950s era, idea of, a road trip, car wash idea where the guests would be in this ride. And so they'd be going through a car wash, and the people who are like in this restaurant could push buttons and interact with the ride as they go through a car wash.
That would have been fun. I like that.
And so, it wasn't until he started developing this idea of car land, so not Cars Land, but car land, no S, that it was one of the times John Lasseter was at the park. And he's like, hey, we're developing this movie called Cars. And they're like, that's perfect. We are developing a land called Car Land. And so they kind of joined forces. And they came up with the idea of Radiator Springs Racers.
Which is interesting because Cars came out in 2005. Right? 2005?
Sounds about right. Yeah. 2004, 2005.
It was right before I moved. But the land opened in what, 2012? 2013?
Something like that.
I'm going to look it up.
But I take that back. They actually conceptualized Radiator Springs Racers before they even knew Cars.
It came out before 2008. 2006.
They came up with the idea of Radiator Springs Racers before they knew about Cars. So they wanted to do a car racing ride, much similar to
2006
Test Track.
Cars came out. Cars came out in 2006. I know, because I was like, I moved out on my own that year, and I watched it all the time. It was my comfort movie. Okay, continue.
So they imagined Radiator Springs Racers. It wasn't Radiator Springs Racers, but rides similar to that before they knew Cars was a movie. And so that's when John Lasseter, got in touch with them, like, hey, we're doing this movie called Cars. And they're like, that's amazing. We're doing this land called Car Land. And so they threw the Cars theming on there. They said that Racers ended up being about 97% the way that they conceived it originally before they put the Cars
cool. They just added the characters.
The characters,
basically?
pretty much.
That's such an amazing ride.
And so, so that's how, Cars Land came to be. And so they actually did the same tour along Route 66. They did a research tour. If you ever watch behind the scenes about Cars, Pixar, the animators and the writers, they went on a tour of Route 66 to learn about that area of the United States. And so the Imagineers did the same tour. And which I didn't know, the sheriff in Cars they met Pixar met the actor who does the sheriff is somebody that they met along the Route 66.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh, I love that.
And so he wasn't originally an actor. They just loved his voice. And you fit perfectly for what we're doing. And so the actor, the person turned actor who plays the sheriff was the Imagineers tour guide along Route 66 to show them all the different things.
Oh, that's cool.
So
now I want to watch. I love Cars so much.
The first Cars is so good. The
it's
Cars
so
3 is good too. But
it's just so comforting.
we don't talk about Cars 2.
We don't talk about Cars 2.
And then we're almost done. We got 2 more things. We get to.
Like you're talking to the kids. We're almost done. Hang in there, guys. Yeah. We're almost there.
We're almost there.
It's almost dinner time.
And we get to Tower of Terror. And so this one, was tough for a lot of people.
What do you mean? Why?
Because it was reimagined the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh! You're talking about the reimagine. You're not talking about when they decided to make it
No, this
here.
is their reimagining of Tower of Terror.
Tower of Terror.
Tower of Terror into Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. And so this was, who was the Imagineer on this one? This was Jeanette Lomboy.
It does need,
Who was
Tomorrowland needs some love, definitely.
Who was in charge of, she was assigned to put Marvel into Disney's California Adventure immediately. They had to figure out a way to get Marvel into DCA.
Calm down, you guys, immediately. Like, chill out.
And she had only been in the job a month. So she was, fresh. She had interned with Imagineers for a while. She was a production assistant. And so she was familiar, but this was like her first real Imagineer job. And so they thought of different things, like what could we do? They originally considered Spider-Man.
Which they brought him in as a character.
They eventually brought Spider-Man in with Avengers Campus. But
oh, wait. But remember when he was like in that little corner?
Oh, that's right.
Where you could meet him. But you know what? That Guardians may have already been Guardians at that point.
I think it was.
Okay.
And so they were thinking, okay, where could we put Guardians, or what type of Marvel story could they put into California Adventure easily? And so that's when Jeanette and the other Imagineer, they were big Guardians of the Galaxy fans. And so what really turned them was the music. Because music, they all kept emphasizing music. It really adds another element to a lot of these rides. And so this, the Guardians of the Galaxy has a great soundtrack.
Yeah.
And so they pitched it to Bob Weiss, who was the head of Imagineering, and he built Tower of Terror. And he gave the go ahead, and they said, "Can you do it in 15 months?" Because Guardians of the Galaxy was coming out, and so they wanted to time the release of the ride with the movie. With the second movie, I believe it was the second movie. And so they said yes, but they didn't know how they were going to do it. And they thought to themselves, well, if Walt could build Disneyland in a year, they can turn a already existing ride into something else. And so they had 15 months to do it. Wow. And so while the ride was still running as Tower of Terror, they would program the new ride in the middle of the night. Oh. So they were testing it during the middle of the night, trying different combinations, different music. Like, will this work? Does that work? And so,
how did they say how long? Because I don't remember. Did they say how long it was closed?
I don't remember. No.
I wonder if I could find it, because I don't remember. I'm gonna look it up, see if I can figure it out.
So they were programming in the middle of the night. They would write it multiple times in the middle of the night. She said park would close. They would work on it. They would drive home at 3 a.m. and then start the next day.
Oh my gosh.
So then we get into Avengers Campus. And so
wait, hang on. I just have to say.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I've said it on the podcast before, but man, I wasn't happy. It's not like I grew up watching the Twilight Zone. It was before my time. But I loved Tower of Terror. I was not happy about them bringing Marvel into the park at all. I was like, this is Disney. Get out of here. And I wasn't excited about it. Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout is one of the best rides I've ever been on in my life.
It is. It is amazing. The music,
so good.
The thrill.
It is just different. Mm-hmm. Yes, it is still a drop ride, but it is different. It is not the same. Because I don't want to give any spoilers. But it's not the same. It's different. And then when we were in Disney World in 2024, you and I, we went on their Tower of Terror, and I was like, yep, this confirms it.
Yeah.
It's better.
Yeah.
Okay, you want a spoiler? I like if it didn't make me feel like I was yeah. One part, and they chose to keep it. Yeah. And people in Disney World, they love it.
They love their Tower of Terror. But it holds nothing to Guardians Mission Breakout.
And if you've been around for a minute, back in November, I was in California Adventure, and Mr. Sprinkles was in Hollywood Studios, and we did a battle on TikTok in front of Guardians, and then Tower. He was in front of Tower, and then we both wrote it. Mm-hmm. And streamed side by side. You guys, it's just better, okay? Guardians Mission Breakout.
If you want to spoil,
yes, the drops are better. Aaron said the drops are better in California, but the pre-show is better in Florida. Okay, I could see that. Well, and I will say the theming, not necessarily now because it's Guardians, it's not a hotel anymore. When it was Tower of Terror in California, the queue and the outside of the building in Disney World is better. It looks like a hotel. The queue, you get into the theme more. So the queue, I think, is better.
Fun fact, Tower of Terror, before I switch to Guardians, in California is taller than Tower of Terror in Orlando, mainly because when they talk about that on the Imagineering behind the attraction, because when they built Tower of Terror in Orlando, you have to, when a building gets to a certain height, you have to put a flashing red light on the top to warn airplanes, because if they fly too low, they might run into it. So they didn't want to do that. So they kept it at a certain height. So they didn't have to do that. In California, they didn't worry about that. And so they made it taller. And so you actually, drop farther in California than you do in Orlando.
And okay, I just looked. It was only closed for a little under 5 months.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's not very long.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to spoil Guardians Mission Breakout.
If you don't want to spoil, mute me. If you're listening to the podcast, turn it down, skip it, whatever you got to do.
The best parts of Guardians Galaxy is that you don't slowly go up like Tower of Terror and then drop. Immediately when the ride starts, you get shot up full speed.
It's amazing.
And then you drop. So you get, your stomach goes down into your butt and then your stomach goes up into your throat when you drop.
And it was, because I remember the first time we wrote it thinking, oh, it's going to be the exact same. It's just going to be Guardians of the Galaxy. So that's what we're expecting. We're expecting like the story, because the story would go and it would talk about the hotel while you were slowly going up.
Yeah.
At least in Disneyland. And then it's the worst. And so that's what we're expecting.
Yeah.
And it was like a what? Yeah. Also, if you go, I mean, you could ask, but you get in, when they put you to the elevator, you either go to one on the right or the left. You want the one on the right. Mm-hmm. Because not when you get initially, like at the very beginning, before you go into the room with the, what's his name?
Rocket?
No, not Rocket. The like inventor guy.
Oh, gosh, what is his name?
That guy.
The collector.
The collector guy.
Yeah.
If you get to they put you in the line to the right, you don't go upstairs to then get on the
third. There's two on the bottom.
Wait. What is it called though? It's not called an elevator anymore. What do they call it? The
gantry lift.
The gantry lift. So you don't go upstairs. If you go to the left, then you come out on the other side and you walk upstairs to go into a line. But if you don't go upstairs, the initial shoot up is bigger. It's better.
It is better.
It's
not better because it's different. It's better just because it's better. It's more intense. It's more intense. It's more intense, and the vibe is just different and more fun. The music's great.
No, it's better.
And it's different
better.
every time you go. That's another thing. Every time you ride it, it's different. Whereas Tower of Terror.
You know what though? Someone told me that they do change it
They
in
change it a
Disney
little
World.
bit?
Is that
Okay.
accurate, Disney World friends? Anybody know? That it changes a bit? Like the way the drops move? Because I know when we went on it in Tower of Terror in 2024, I like barely had the butterflies.
Yeah, it was kind of lame.
And I was like, what in the world? What is this?
Aaron, we agree to disagree. Anyways, so the last
Tower
section.
over Guardians. What? Yeah, I don't agree with you, friend, but that's okay. We don't have to agree. And we can still be friends.
The last section that they went on, talked about was Avengers Campus, which is one of the newer lands or the newest land at California Adventure. And they were 90% done. Like they were like 2 to 3 months away from opening the park. I remember this in 2019. They were close. They had a date announced.
Yeah, I remember. I had a friend who had was planning on going. They had reservations, or they didn't have to have park reservations at the time, but had a hotel and stuff.
So in 2019, it was about to open, about 2-3 months away, and then COVID hit, and the park closed. Whereas, you know, if you think about Disney World was only closed for a couple months.
So crazy.
Disneyland was closed for over a year. And so when Disneyland closed, they talked about Imagineers were just heartbroken because they were ready to bring this land, the first new land in a long time, to California Adventure. And they placed the Quinjet, the jet that's on top of the Avengers building. They placed it, and they said everyone was crying because they couldn't let people experience this because it was closed when they did that. And so they had to weatherproof everything, and everything just sat for over a year.
Sad.
And so Avengers Campus became the first land open when Disneyland Resort reopened in 2021. And they're still expanding it. So as you know, they're building 2 new rides.
I'm excited. I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be really good.
And
from what they described at the D23 a couple years ago or a year ago or whatever.
So
I think they're going to be really good.
Yeah, one is called Tony Stark's Flight Lab or Stark Flight Lab, which is you and another person are like in these chairs, and a robotic arm takes you and then like spins you around. You're supposed to be like mimicking like being Iron Man and flying around and different things. And so that looks fun. And then the big e-ticket ride, which is supposed to be on the level of rides at the Resistance, but Avengers.
Okay.
So that'll be cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it because I do like Avengers. I wasn't crazy about it coming to the parks, but I do like the Avengers. And the land I like because the Avengers music is really good. And so walking through hearing the music is good, but then you're kind of like,
there's not a lot to do.
There's not much to do. I like Pim's Kitchen and I like Mission Breakout. I do like Web Slingers.
I just cannot do good at that ride. You always beat me. I can't figure it out.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do. I do well at that ride. Not compared to the other when you get off the ride and they tell you the scores of the people that day. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
That's because you can get those power up items.
Yeah.
You can get those like little like arm blasters. You like the toys that like multiply your points. So, but anyways, that was the panel. That was it. They ended with Avengers Campus. They did mention like because the Imagineers that came in after the original Imagineers, they kind of like felt bad, like they redid everything that the original Imagineers did, but they said that they always wanted to honor all those that came before us by doing their homework and respecting the work and honoring that in the park's evolution and the spirit of the park. So they didn't want to just erase what the original Imagineers did, but wanted to plus it up and still honor the work that they already did. So that was it.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
I love DCA.
Do you have the pin that they?
Yeah.
So all those that got to the panel got the special pin, sunglass shack.
I do remember this. I remember the sunglass shack.
And they got a special lanyard. And there was another package to where you could go to the World of Color dessert party without having to have a park ticket. So they would take you in there. I didn't do that because we were already going to the park. So
we had all our kids.
Yeah. But it was cool. It was neat.
Yeah.
I liked it.
And the most important thing was that John Stamos wasn't there.
He was not
there.
there.
And I didn't miss him.
No Disney celebrities were there.
I mean, I did miss him. He was there a few days after us, or like a week after us, but Oh, Justin, I got to go to bed. I got to be back in here at 5:30 in the morning. I'm just going to sleep.
So
actually, I could just sleep.
You could just sleep.
I could just okay, hit the live button. I could. Rope jumping DCA more than Disneyland. It tends to be a quieter morning. Yes,
that's true.
I agree, Cody. Yes, I do need ice cream, Justin. Absolutely.
So that was
Aaron. Okay, well, hang on, Aaron. Don't go anywhere. Okay.
That was the DCA panel. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yes, I did.
If you like this podcast, thank you. And leave us a review wherever you're listening. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, leave a review. Spotify, hit those 5 stars. We appreciate it. And
we'll be back with something else. I don't know.
Yeah,
we got to come up with something to talk about now.
Something to talk about now.
I just need to go again.
If you're listening on podcasts, we stream live on TikTok. If you're streaming live with us on TikTok, you can listen to this podcast tomorrow. So we appreciate all you that are here with us live. We appreciate all those of you that are listening us wherever you may be. You can find us on TikTok, Dreaming Disney Podcast. We're also on IG if you want to follow us there. And yeah.
Until talk about something next time.
Yeah. Until next time. Talk to you later.
Bye.